My name is Roshni and I'm part of the customer team here at SuiteFiles. So today's training session is going to cover the more complex functionality that you can implement with SuiteFiles templates. So it's perfect for those looking to level up their template game. Just some general information before we begin. If you do have any questions, please make use of the Q&A section, which you can see in the webinar tool panel, and I'll be keeping an eye on those throughout the webinar. We've got a section at the end for questions and answers. I'm also recording and will be uploading to our help centre, and everyone here will receive a copy of that link via email for you to watch again or to share with your team. So what are we going to cover today? So we are going to take a quick look at the SuiteFiles merge fields for templates. These allow you to bring your client data from Xero Practice Manager into your SuiteFiles templates. So I'll show you where you can find those and how you can enter them into your templates. We'll also take a look at the various fields that you have in XPM and or Workflow Max. This functionality applies to both systems. They're sort of seen as interchangeable. We'll take a look at creating custom merge fields in Xero Practice Manager. So if you don't have a particular field available by default, you can create a custom merge field or a custom field in XPM and then create a custom merge field for your SuiteFiles templates. We'll take a look at some more complex functionality around using checkbox merge fields that include conditions, and I'll explain what exactly I mean by that shortly. And finally, we'll take a look at managing templates in SuiteFiles. We'll wrap up with some Q&A. I'm sure there'll be a few questions around this process, and we can look forward to answering those towards the end of the session. Okay, so let's jump in and take a look. So I may make an assumption that a lot of you have already created file templates in SuiteFiles, but for those that might be just getting started, I'll take you through a quick 101 on creating file templates in SuiteFiles. So it's pretty easy, but there are a few things that you need to know. So the first thing that you'll need to do is start off with a file in SuiteFiles. So for example, let's say that we are going to send a year-end letter to one of our clients. We would need a Word document to insert our merge fields into that document before we can then turn it into a SuiteFiles template. So that's the very first step. So you might already have something on file already and you'll just need to insert the SuiteFiles merge fields. So let's just take a look at that base template first of all, so the original document. In terms of where you file it or where you store it in SuiteFiles, it really doesn't matter. If you can see my folder structure here, I'm at the home level of my SuiteFiles site. We've actually just created a files to template folder. You might want to nest this within your business folder, so you can simply create a subfolder within your business folder that you might want to call file templates, but we just have it sitting there. And then the template that I want to use for the basis of this year-end letter is sitting here. So the next steps to insert or make sure that the merge fields are all in there correctly is to select or open the file for editing, and I do that just by clicking on the link there. So this of course brings us into our preview. You might already have your SuiteFiles open your Word documents automatically in Microsoft Word in the desktop app. I'm going to, because I'm going to be doing quite a few finicky changes, I'm going to open it in Office so that I have that full functionality available to me in the Word desktop app. So I'll click Open in Office. So that's just opening up on my other screen. So this is something that I have prepared earlier, but if you are just starting out, then you might just have a basic template that you'll need to replace your fields with the SuiteFiles merge fields for templates. So we'll take a little bit of a review of this document. So it's just a standard letter. We do have some GST requirements. We have a little section on whether or not they attended our most recent webinar, and we're going to customize this to add another custom value as well. So the first thing, and just in terms of keeping it at that basics level to begin with, how do we actually find these merge fields to put into our letter templates? So the best thing to do is to head over to our Help Center, and you can access this really easily from within your SuiteFiles web app. So here I am logged into the web app. If you click on your username in the top right corner, and then select Help Center, that's going to take you through to our Help Center, which is help.suitefiles.com. So it's just going to do a bit of a redirect for us first. But the correct URL is this one that you see here, which is help.suitefiles.com. So what you'll then, the easiest way to get to the merge fields article is to just type in merge fields for templates or zero merge fields. This is the article that you want to select. It's typically the first in the list. So if you select that, then this Help Center article will take you through the various fields that you can use. So for example, if you're wanting to insert the date, you have a number of options based on how you want the date to display. So if you were to use this merge field on the left-hand side, what it will pull through, what it will display on your client's letter is the date format like this. If you want to pop the date in full, then this is the merge field that you'll use, and it will bring through the full date format, as you can see here. So let's say we want to make a change to the merge field that we have in our template. I might just copy that merge field, jump back into my letter, which I have open in Word, of course, and just select the original, and I'm just going to paste over that. And just tidy up the spacing as you need to. So this is now going to bring through the shortened date format. It's not going to spell them out in full. So if you want to customize the date field, that's how you can do it. Then when we scroll down a little bit further in the article, that's where we can find the merge field values that we'll be using for our Xero Practice Manager data. So the way that the merge fields work is they sort of specify, they are in a specific format which you need to follow in order to ensure that the information in XPM comes into your template properly. So that's why I did a copy and paste. It's probably the best way to ensure that you don't make any typos or miss the special formatting there. So if you are wanting to pull through the client's business name, so the client name field, then this is the merge field that you'll need to use. So that's just a colon separator there. If you have a primary contact, you'll be able to pull through those details such as the primary contact's full name, their salutation, address, and other details as listed here. In terms of the address fields that we have available, you can get the physical address of the client based on the information stored in XPM. Otherwise, if you want to just make sure that you have information stored in both locations, then if the postal address does not exist, then we can default it to the physical address. So a few options with your address fields there. Now, custom fields. So these relate to fields. If we just jump into Xero Practice Manager, there may be certain fields that don't come standard with XPM, and you have created a custom field in XPM for that particular information. So an example of that for us is that we have an attended webinar custom field. We can then edit the value as to whether or not that is true or false, and then we can use that information to customize the data or the text that appears on our letter. So in terms of the custom field process, we'll go through the steps of creating a custom field in XPM and how we pull that information or store that information in the template before we turn that into a SuiteFiles template. So the first thing to do is we'll just jump into the Xero Practice Manager, click on Business, and then select Settings. And then we'll select Custom Fields. And you have a number of different options in terms of the format that your custom field is going to take. I am going to be creating a new custom field. So first of all, I'll click this button here. And you just need to select the type of custom field that you want. So in my case, I'm going to just be creating a simple, we're going to be doing a checkbox option. So that will allow me to select whether or not that checkbox is true or false. So I'll select that. And the name of this field is going to be iOS. I want to know whether or not they use the iOS operating system or not. And we can then just click Save on that. So once that is available, once that's been created, back in the client, so I'm just going to look up my client 99 Corporation. And the new field is available at the end of the list. So I can then click on options to edit if I want to. In my particular case, I'm just going to leave that set to no. If you need to edit the field, it would be available under, in this case, services required. So I'm just going to leave that empty, and so I'm going to cancel that edit change. But that custom field is now available for me to populate in Xero Practice Manager, and now it's also available for me to use in my letters. So if we jump back into the Help Center article, the custom merge field format is to have an open square bracket, the word custom, a colon, and then the word or name of the value as it stands in Xero Practice Manager. So for example, my custom field is going to need to say custom colon iOS. So with that being said, I'm going to now jump into my template, which again, I'm editing in Word. And what I'm wanting to do in this case is I want to say to the client, if you're on iOS, then this is the information that, that I want to put for you. And if you're not, I'm going to put a little message around Android. So this is a little bit of a SuiteFiles shameless plug, if I'm honest, but let's take a look at how we would format this. So I've set it up above just so that you can hopefully follow what it is, the format that you need for the if not values. So if, for example, my client does have iOS, then I want it to look a little something like this. I'm just going to add another paragraph to my template. So if custom iOS, square bracket, close, and I'll say something that I have prepared earlier. And we also need to close that as well. So we end the if statement, and so I just need to close that off with the correct term. So the format is if custom iOS, and then just close that off. So it's similar if you're familiar with HTML coding, it's sort of a way to close that particular piece of code off. Now, if they're not iOS, I'm going to just assume that they are Android, Team Android. So I'm just going to copy this little format. So if not iOS, then we want to say that they can download the SuiteFiles Android app from the Google Play Store. So as I said, shameless plug. Now we just need to close that off here. iOS, don't forget the colon. And I hope you can see how you can format the if-then queries. So for example, we've got if you're GST registered, we want to mention a particular sentence to our customer. If they're not GST registered, there's nothing that they actually need to do. If they attended a webinar, we want to say thanks so much for coming along to our webinar. And then if not, we're sorry that you couldn't make it, but we hope to see you again soon. And then finally, if they do have iOS, we want them to stay tuned for more news about our soon to be released iOS app. Otherwise, let them know that they can download the Android app from the Google Play Store. So once that's done, then if you're happy with all of the formatting and merge fields that you have used for your client, then I'm going to also just remove all of this highlight. And what we'll do is, as part of just our follow-up to the webinar today, we'll send you not only a link to the recording, but we'll also send you the examples that we've used in today's session, just so that you can hopefully copy and paste those into your documents as well. Okay, I'm also just going to remove, there's an odd space here, so let me just get rid of that. Okay, so looks like we are good to go. That's just saving back to SuiteFiles, and so we can just close that saved. And back in SuiteFiles, if we go back to the folder that it's stored in this case it's in My Files Template New folder, the next thing that we need to do once we're happy with everything is to turn the file into a SuiteFiles file template. So the way that we do that is that we click on the three dots to the right of the file name and then select Save as Template. So I'm just going to call this my example just so I can keep track of it in my huge template library, but you can name the template whatever you like. Just note that this name will be used as the default name when you do create the template with your client information. The next thing you can do is also to organize your files nice and tidily. You can select a template category from this drop-down. So I've got one for year-end letters, so I'll select that and then select Save Template. So this process is creating or taking a copy of this document and turning it into a SuiteFiles file template. It's now ready for me or any of my team to use. The easiest thing to do to start populating your file templates with your client data and just do some testing around if the values are coming out as expected is just to head over to one of your client folders. So I'm just going to jump back home, and it's the 99 Corporation client that I've been working on in XPM. So I'm going to jump into my clients folder, filter for 99 Corp, open up the 99 Corporation folder. Then I just need to choose where I'm going to file it. So let me just pop it into, just chuck it into this folder. And the next step is once you're in the final folder place that you want your document to be saved into, you're going to click the Create button in the top right corner and then select File from Template. And this will bring you up with the list of all templates available in your SuiteFiles site. So the way that you can locate your template, you can either just obviously scroll through the list here until you find what it is that you're looking for. You can use the search in the top right corner, or I'm going to just jump into the year-end letters category, and here is my 2019 example letter that I'm going to use right now. So once you have selected the letter, that's going to, of course, for people that are familiar with using this template process, it's going to populate the name for you. Because I've already created the client, the letter from within the client folder, and because I'm all connected to my XPM, then it's going to mean that the client is automatically assigned for me. If not, it'll just look like this, from where you can just type in the name of the client and select it from the drop down. Another thing that we have available is this enter field values option. So I could from now just click create. That's going to create that document for me. But if I want to have a bit of a sense check as to what my values are looking like with the various merge fields that I have included in this letter, then I can do a bit of a sense check by clicking the enter field values button. So this will display all of the values for the merge fields that I have in my template. So we can scroll down, take a look at this. And at the bottom here, we have the checkbox values. So right now we've got them noted in XPM as having not attended a webinar. They are GST registered, but they are not iOS, so we assume they're Android. So you can make any changes to those values by just toggling them on or off. So blue means that that is the value that you have selected for that particular merge field. In terms of any of the text fields that we have here, if we know that, say, Bert has left the organization and our new key point of contact is now Bob, we can make a one-off change to the text. So that's just going to make a one-off change for this letter. You're going to want to jump back into Xero Practice Manager and make that change there so that your one source of truth data about your clients is up to date. But if you need to make any last minute changes, then you're able to do so from within the edit merge fields screen that we're in here. So once you're happy with all of that information, then you can click on the create button. And that's going to generate the file for you. And that's going to take all of those values from Xero Practice Manager and take a look at whether or not those checkbox values were true or false. And it's going to create the template for you. So what we have here is an oddly formatted letter. I'm not sure what I did there, but that's on me. So I've clearly done something a little bit untoward in that template. I'm going to just edit that in the browser. Let's just take a look and tidy that up while we're there. So you can see that they were GST registered. So we're asking them to do the following. If they know Latin, they'll be onto it in no time. Then under more info, we're sorry we didn't see you at our recent webinar. Hope to see you along at another one soon. And just a little shameless plug at the end. So just keep an eye on the formatting of that. I'm not sure exactly what I did there, but I will jump back in and just double check what I did after the session. But hopefully with that information, you'll be able to use, you've learned how to create custom fields in Xero Practice Manager, take a look at the checkbox true and false values, as well as where to find those merge fields to actually put into your template. So Let me know if you have any questions on that process. It is really about just giving it a go, making a test in SuiteFiles by creating a letter, then turning that into a template, saving that to your SuiteFiles template manager, and just jumping into one of your clients and giving it a go. So we'll take a look next at the template management side of things. So you might be familiar with creating templates, but not necessarily sure on how you can manage your templates. So let's jump into the More drop-down in SuiteFiles and select Manage Templates. Now, whether or not you see this field or this option here will be dependent on your user role or your user permission. So if you're a SuiteFiles administrator by default, you will be able to see the Manage Templates option. However, if you are not an admin but you would like access to the Manage Templates area, it's just about reaching out to your SuiteFiles administrator in your team and asking them to switch that permission on. So for those that are admins and have the ability to do this, I'll just jump through that quickly so you have all the information you need if you need to make a few changes for your team. So under Manage Users and Groups, under that More drop-down, just scroll down to the user in question. And when you get to the Allow User to Manage Templates option, just toggle that to Yes, as you can see here, and that will mean the next time they click on that More drop-down, they'll be able to access your templates to manage them. So we'll jump into Manage Templates, and along the left-hand side, we do have them split out into documents. So those are your file templates. Those are the ones like your Word documents that we've just created. Or you might have some Excel files that you create as templates as well. Well, we're not going to go through this in today's session. We do also have the ability to create email templates in SuiteFiles. So exactly the same process as what we've covered today, with a few little tips and tricks as well that you need to be aware of. So if you are not sure on how to create email templates at all, then please let me know via the Q&A section, because I'll be happy to send you a link to a recording. Otherwise, you can come along to our weekly training sessions that we hold where we take you through the email template creation process. Finally, you do have your folder templates as well. So if you've got your client folder structure, so their financial years, permanent folders, correspondence or emails folders, this is where those folder templates actually live in SuiteFiles. So as far as your document template or your file templates are concerned, there are some cool little features that you can make use of if you access those templates via the template browser here. So one of the really cool options is that if you're making edits to perhaps an existing template like we have here, if you select the template, you can edit it in the browser or open an office to make changes to that file. So rather than deleting the template and then going back through and recreating that template like we did today, you can just edit the existing template. And once you've saved those changes, anyone using that template will have those new changes take effect straight away. Another great option that you have access to by editing the template from the template manager is if you click on the icon just in the top right corner of your screen here. It sits just below your username. So click that once. You have to be in a file template in order to see this, but what you'll see is a list of available merge fields. So it's a little bit of a hidden feature. So maybe you haven't seen this before, but it does allow you to copy the merge fields from this panel and paste them into your document. So even if you want to save an empty template rather into your template manager and then come through here, opt the panel on, and then you can go through and copy and paste the merge field. So a couple of ways that you can do it, either from this panel or from the Help Center article. Now, another great thing for this panel is that if you're wanting to get a bit of an idea as to what information you have already stored in Zero Practice Manager for a particular client, you can come down here and select the client name from the drop down. So I think we must have a massively long client name. Yeah, we do. Okay, that's just because we've been doing some testing, but your drop down probably doesn't look this wide. But if we jump into, say, 99 Corporation, then you can see that if we were to use the client business name merge field in our template, then the 99 Corporation information will come through. So that's the value in bold that's stored in Zero Practice Manager. So it's good to just go through and identify if there are any gaps over a few of your clients before you start to build out your templates. It can be a really great way to just get an overview as to what you've got already and what gaps might be missing. So we can just pop that back by clicking the icon again and jump back into the template manager by just using the breadcrumb along the top there. The other functionality that you can use is you can create additional categories. So let's say we wanted to create a new category, just click on that plus icon to the right of the categories heading there. Create your new category name, click create category, and that's going to add that to your list. So say if you're wanting to make some changes, so let's just pop this one. We want to refile this one into, say, the customer team templates folder. We can click on the three dots, then select add to category and add it to the customer team templates category. So if we go into that now, you can see that that's now been filed into that particular template category. So let me know if you have any questions on the template manager at all. One other thing that you can do is from the drop down, so I'm just going to go back to that particular file there. If you need to rename the template, so let's say you might have been doing some tests and you included the word test in your original file name just to let your team know, hey, I'm working on this, don't use it in real life. You can come back into the template manager, click on rename, and then just remove that additional information and maybe just call it final or master. Click rename, and that will be really clear to everyone that that's the correct template to use. Or if you are done with the template forever and you don't need it anymore, then you can click on the delete option here, and that will delete that template for good. You can also delete template categories or rename them just by right-clicking them in the menu there. So that does bring us to the end of today's little update on the advanced functionality of file templates and SuiteFiles. As I say, if you've got any questions at all, then please do add them to the Q&A section in the Zoom webinar panel, and I'll take a look at those and answer them. Well, we've had a couple of people ask for us to send through a link to the webinar on email templates. Someone's come through as anonymous, so I don't know who you are, unfortunately. So what I might do is just send that out to everyone, because it can be good to just get a little bit of a refresh on the email template functionality as well. Also, if anyone has any feedback on today's webinar, or if you have any requests for things that you would like to cover, we are doing these webinar series once a month. So the aim of the game is to just ensure that everyone's making the most out of the functionality that we have available and getting the best out of your SuiteFiles subscription. Perfect, thanks, Seb. So we have a question here. When will you be able to edit the email templates? So we do have, I did sort of fail to mention that while you do have the full functionality of editing your documents, we don't have the ability to edit your email or your folder template. So right now, if you were to need to make a change to your email template, you would need to create the new one in Outlook, create that as a new template, and then come into the template manager and then click on the three dots to delete that template. So I don't have a time frame as to when we would introduce the ability to edit the email templates, but Natalie, I'll definitely pass your feedback on to the developers and make sure that I'm sure it's in the dev queue already, but we might just be able to give you a little bit more information on when that might come to life in Outlook. So thanks for your question. I'll leave the session open for another few minutes just to give you time to think of and ask your questions that you have. If you need to go, that's totally fine. I will be sending through a recording of today's session for you to share with your team and for you to watch again. So keep an eye out on our social media channels for any updates. If you need to learn a little bit more about SuiteFiles, we have lots of resources available on the Help Centre. So that URL again is help.suitefiles.com. If you are getting a little stuck with your templates, then please feel free to get in touch with us via our support email address. That email address is support@suitefiles.com. And finally, if you do want to pop along to any of our standard webinars, so we run webinars weekly, then you can find our list of webinars available on our website, which is suitefiles.com, just /learn/webinars. So we hold 4 training sessions a week on basics. So it's great if you've got any newbies in your team, you can send them along to training. We have our advanced training session, which goes into more detail around scanning, sharing, and templates. And we have our XPM integration training as well, which just talks through the folder prompts that you get if you're using XPM. So we also have an admin webinar as well, just around permissions and the like. So if you do want to come along to them, you're most welcome to attend. So thanks everyone so much for attending. I look forward to seeing you at another webinar in the not too distant future, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks everyone.